Hey friends, Casey Ashmore here in the studio, finishing up this deep dive on the presumption of innocence and criminal law in the state of Texas and here in North Texas. The prior video series talked a lot about, the origins, the what, the why, and the how of what is the presumption of innocence. We defined it. It's the starting point. It's to level the playing field. Is to make sure that the accused, who is facing the unlimited, in many cases, unlimited resources of the government of the state of Texas or the United States government, and there's got to be something to level the playing field. So that way, when the jury sees the accused, they're in a position that they're instructed not to consider the fact that the accused has been arrested, confined, formally charged, wearing orange pajamas, out on bail. Those things are not to be considered. And it's because the weight that the bias that could come from not being instructed to follow the law could result in a wrongful conviction, sending somebody who's truly not guilty to do a sentence that's not warranted. So one of the things that Texas does differently is that even if the accused does not request an instruction on the presumption of innocence, so that means close of evidence, the state opens, puts on their evidence, the defense opens, puts on their evidence, each party closes, the defense closes, the state closes, and then there's an instruction to the jury without a request by the defense attorney. Defense attorneys, listen up, you better make the request. But the law in Texas is that you get one, even if not, because we've just learned that it's better to err on the side of caution. The Texas pattern jury instructions mirror the Code of Criminal Procedure regarding the presumption of innocence, and the jury's instructed that they shall not consider the fact that the accused defendant has been arrested, confined, or formally charged. These are not things that move the needle in that criminal prosecution. So this is how critical the presumption of innocence is in our modern court system. And I'm going to touch real briefly on the finding of guilt. So when the presumption is overcome, the jury is asked to make a finding of guilt. And it's at that point, again, that burden of proof ladder that we talked about in this video series has, in the minds of the jury, been met. The jury has a clear picture in their mind. They are convinced that the evidence is sufficient to show beyond a reasonable doubt, not all reasonable doubt, just beyond a reasonable doubt, that the defendant is guilty. And then that presumption goes away. And the question then becomes punishment. When that presumption is not swept away, is not overcome, when the evidence, the collection of facts does not get the jury to that highest rung on the ladder beyond a reasonable doubt, that top rung on the ladder, the presumption remains. And the jury has only one thing to do, and that's report to the judge that they did not find the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The distinction here for me is that you're not finding someone innocent. It's not proved beyond a reasonable doubt. It's maybe a mistake to call it innocence, but it's really what it is that it's not proved beyond a reasonable doubt. And sometimes that can be a hard pill for the jury to swallow. Sometimes that can be a hard pill for the state to swallow, a bitter pill. But at the end of the day, the burden is on the state of Texas or the United States government, if it's a federal case, to show beyond a reasonable doubt the defendant committed each step of the crime that they have been accused of by the state of Texas or the government. So thank you again for watching this video series. It's a little bit different. We're shaking it up, trying to do something a little less formal, but still instructional, insightful, enlightening. Look, I hope you're never in any one of these situations, but if you are, that's the purpose of these video series, to shed some light on these murky, thorny areas that we really don't talk about in our society, except in concepts of LA law or what have you. So if you have additional questions, comments, tell me what you think of the new format. You got a question or comment about the subject matter, hit me up on any one of these video platforms. I'll get back to you in a direct video message, a chat back to you, or both. Thank you again so much for watching, and more to come from the studio next.